Christianity has been hijacked by religious authorities. These authorities deal in money making and trading in their churches. The one thing that angered Jesus: they follow the abandoned rules of the Old Testament and ignore the rules of the New Testament. The New Testament is the testament of Christianity. The Old Testament does not apply to Christians, hence why it is called the Old and New Testament. The vast majority of Jesus' teachings were not passed on. He spent a great deal of time teaching in synagogues, and none of it was passed on. The only teachings that were passed on were a few sermons he taught to his followers. There are so few teachings passed on that the Christian church had to add many other books from Jesus' followers to fill in the gaps. But true Christians do not follow followers. They follow the teachings of Jesus alone. What few of them exist. The Bible as we know it is made up of different books. There are many other books that were not added to the Bible. Why is it that the books chosen and rejected by religious authorities centuries after the fact define what is and is not the Word of God? The only words in the Christian doctrine are the words of Jesus, and that includes Gospels not included in the Bible. Anything else is not perfect, and should not be considered the Word of God. The very apostles of Jesus were imperfect. Peter himself denied Jesus 3 times in his hour of need. An example of how the Bible has been corrupted and rewritten is in the phrase "King of the Jews." The word Jew was invented only 200 years ago. The Bible was edited to include Jews, replacing the original words and placing the Jews as God's chosen people. But the Bible itself warns about its own corruption, referring to the synagogue of Satan, the pretenders who claim to be God's chosen people but are not. God's chosen people are not Jews, but the white race. The white race are the people who spread Christianity throughout the world. The few racial references in the Bible refer to God's chosen people as white and ruddy. Newer versions of the Bible replace white skin for dark skin, to cover up the lie about God's chosen people. These references will be supplied at the end of this video. The Catholics do not follow Jesus. They pray to Mary. They worship ordained saints. They follow rituals. Is it any wonder why pedophilia among Catholic priests is so widespread and covered up? The Catholics are the same demonic priesthood who crucified Jesus. Evangelicals do not follow Jesus. They follow Paul. They always teach from the books of Paul, who was an impostor hired to corrupt the early Christians and turn them into something that could be controlled by the government. Paul's miraculous conversion happened on his very way to infiltrate the Christians. He had only 2 witnesses, both with 2 different stories. Half of the New Testament is made up of Paul's letters. Mormons do not follow Jesus. They follow Joseph Smith and his Book of Mormon. The very Bible itself warns about its own corruption, that all would be led astray apart from a small few.